Welcome to the TPC Desktop video series. In this video, we'll look at some of the standardized import settings that are new to TPC Desktop 2016. In particular, in this video, we want to say what happens when I'm importing a point that already exists in the survey. So I've created a test survey called Test Binary CR5. This is a project that we're importing CR5 files for, but we're working with multiple crews or multiple days. So we've got more than one file to import, and we may or may not be sharing survey points in those files. So let's go right to the import option, File Import. Tell Traverse PC that we're importing a binary CR5 and go right to the settings. Here's the new field that is in TPC Desktop 2016 Import. When an imported point matches an existing point. We've got three options to choose from, along with the ability to modify the incoming point labels. Now the best way to kind of get started on this is simply to press the F1 key, and we see that the CR5 import settings use pretty much the standard settings. So I'm going to open this up, and we're going to see as we scroll down, here's exactly what we're talking about. When an imported point matches an existing point label. And Traverse PC has a whole help page dedicated to these three options, 1, 2, 3. And in addition, what happens when we're protecting points, or when in addition to the point label matching, the coordinates or the geodetic position also matches. So there's quite a bit of discussion here about exactly what happens and what information we're going to see in the details. If we back up one page here, we also have the ability in the standardized import settings to modify the label. So we could add 1,000 to each point coming in, or we could put a prefix or a suffix with each incoming point label. So the help topic is a great place to start. I'm just simply going to tell Traverse PC that we want to create a new imported point. We're not going to modify any labels. We are going to turn on details. Let's just bring the second file in here and see what we get. So here's our second file. Let's import it. Traverse PC tells us that it's importing 434 points. It's finished. Let's come over here to the details and see what it actually did. So we go all the way to the top, and right here at the top, Traverse PC tells us that when an imported point matches an existing point, create a new one. That's the option that we selected in the settings dialog. So here is point 1 and its coordinates. Here's point 2 and its coordinates. And Traverse PC says if point 1 and point 2 already exist, it doesn't matter because we're going to create a new point for these. So as I scroll down to the bottom, past all the points that are imported, I see a section that says relabel duplicate points. So point 1 was a duplicate. It already existed in the survey. So the imported point got relabeled to 1:1. And I'm going to see that that happens all the way down through point 333. So after 333, any point coming in, like with a point label of 425, created a new point and didn't have to be relabeled. So let's come over to the point manager, and we can see that here's our original point 1 with its description. Here's the imported point 1, which got relabeled to 1:1. It has a completely different description and different set of coordinates. So we did exactly what we had hoped to do. We had two crews perhaps out there working with data collection, each starting with point 1, and we've got unique points for each of the points we just imported. So we got exactly what we wanted. If we come down to point 333, the last matching point, we're going to see that following 333, starting with point 334, I have just new points that I imported. So exactly what I expected to have happen. Now, let's make one slight modification to this. I'm going to clear this view. And let's come back and just start over again with this file. That's what I want to do in this video, is just start at the same point each time. This time, let's come in and import. Let's go to our settings, and let's put a point label modifier in. So I'm going to add 1,000 to each point number that I bring in. I noticed that all the point labels were numbers, so adding 1,000 is a great way to modify the labels. Again, I'm going to create a unique or a new point for each imported point. Let's choose OK. Let's browse to that file again, and let's just import it. Again, Traverse PC tells us there were 434 points imported, and let's just go up to the top and see what happens. So again, I see that when an imported point matches an existing point, create a new one. But this time, Traverse PC says, I modified the label of point 1 to 1001, and it gives me the point label, description, and coordinates. I modified the point label of 2 to 1002. All the way through the end, even the points above 333, I simply added 1,000 to each imported point. So now when I come over to the Point Manager, points 1 through 333 are all my original points. I haven't changed those or created any labels just like them. Okay? But as soon as I get past 333, I'm into the new points, and I added 1,000 to those. So I've got all my new points added to the survey in addition to all my existing points. So that's the point label modifier. It's a great way to just say, hey, I want to make sure that all these new points coming in have unique points and unique point labels. Let's take a look at two of the other options real quick. I'm going to clear this view again, come back and reload this survey. And this time, I want to look at one of the pull-down options. So let's clear our label modifier. And this time I say, I want to use the existing point and don't update it. So this time, if I import a point 1, I say I want that to be the same as the existing point 1 in the survey, regardless of whether it has different coordinates or not, or different geodetic position or not. Okay? I'm going to turn on details again so I'll be able to see exactly what happens with each point. Let's go back to that same file, and let's import it. So again, Traverse PC says there were 434 points imported. Let's scroll to the top of our details. And this time it says, when an imported point matches an existing point, use the existing point and don't update it. So right away, Traverse PC says, I found existing survey point 1 based on a matching label. If it had matched coordinates, it would have said based on a matching label and coordinates, or and geodetic position, whatever matched. And it tells me I'm going to keep the existing survey point, and here it is. Then I found existing survey point 2. Again, based on a matching label, I'm keeping the existing survey point, and here it is. So when we get down to point 334, we start new point labels. So 333 was the last one that kept the existing survey point. And now starting with 334, I've got new points that are added. So if I come to my point manager, I'm going to see that 1 through 333 are all the same points. But starting at 334, I've got the new points that I added. So I'm protecting, in other words, the existing points in the survey, in this case 100 through 333, but I'm allowing any new points that come in that data file to be appended to the survey. Let's go ahead and do our final option, just so we can see what happens with that. So I'll reload that survey. Let's clear our message view. I'm just doing this to make sure we have the same starting point with each option, so it becomes real clear what's happening here. Let's go into our settings now. This time let's tell it I want to use the existing point, but I want to update it. So I've got coordinates in the incoming file that I want to replace the coordinates in the existing survey, or a geodetic position in the imported file that I want to replace the geodetic position in the survey. Or I've added some more additional information to a description or an attribute, and I want to append that to the existing description or attribute in the survey. Now, if an existing survey point is protected, it's not going to get updated, period. So if I protected a point in the survey, regardless of whether or not I have a matching point label or position or the setting that I've chosen here, that survey point is going to remain unchanged. So this is only going to affect survey points that are not protected. So let's go ahead and choose this option. and browse to that same file again and import it. Once again, we imported 434 points. Let's close that. Let's come up to the top. So Traverse PC tells us when an imported point matches an existing point, use the existing point, but update it. So it tells us that I found existing survey point 1 based on a matching label. I'm going to update the coordinates from the old coordinates to the new coordinates that were brought in with the import. I'm also going to update the description from the old description to the new description. And can you see I took the old description and used the delimiter for the survey and added or appended the imported description. So now I've got a point 1 with this new description and this new set of coordinates. Now, if I was bringing in geodetic positions, the same thing would happen with geodetic positions. Traverse PC would show me that I updated the geodetic position from the old latitude, longitude, height to the new imported latitude, longitude, and height. And as you would expect then, I'm going to see that same kind of report for every point down through 333, which is my last matching point. And once again, when I get to 334, I'm simply going to add the new points to the survey. So once again, let's come over and take a look at our point manager. And this time I see that I retained point 1, but I've updated the description for it. Let's just slide this over a little bit so we can see a little bit more of those descriptions. And I've updated the coordinates. Again, point 1 was not a protected point, so I was free to update those coordinates. And some of you may be watching this drawing over here and realize that when I updated those positions, I see that my drawing has changed because those same points now have new positions or new coordinates, and that's reflected over here in the drawing. So, just to recap real quickly, all of the filters for importing data in Traverse PC have these same options available to modify the incoming point labels, which basically helps me create unique points on the import, and to combine that with the 3 options that tell Traverse PC what to do when an imported point matches an existing point. And really, we feel pretty confident that you're going to be able to set up your field work or your crews or extend that project and bring in additional data, and feel pretty confident that Traverse PC can reconcile that data appropriately, that you're going to have the option to either bring in new data to the survey, update existing survey data, all based on this import with these standardized import settings.